Hey everybody, there is a topic that has been on my mind the last few days. Well, actually for much longer than the last few days, but I've been really feeling like I needed to share this, that I needed to teach about this for the last few days, but it's been on my heart and my mind for a really long time. So the topic that we're going to be talking about today is boundaries. And I know this is like a hot word right now. Everybody's talking about boundaries, all these things about it. But I want to teach the things that I have learned about boundaries these last few months. And it has blown my mind. So I hope that the things that I am able to share and teach is beneficial and helpful for anyone who is feeling like, well, what is a boundary? Why do we need boundaries? Don't boundaries make you look mean and like a hateful person? And so I kind of want to dispel some of those myths and talk about really what is a boundary, why do we need boundaries, why are boundaries so hard to set, why are they so scary, and what are the benefits and what happens when we actually set those boundaries. How does that help us as an individual? So let's get into that. So first, let's talk about what is a boundary. So what's a boundary? Boundaries are things that we do to protect ourselves. Okay? They are for us. A boundary is not to control another person. A boundary is not to punish another person. A boundary is used to protect ourselves. We do not, as much as we wish we could, we do not have the ability, the power to control other people. They are going to do whatever they are going to do. We don't get to control them. But we do get to control ourselves. We do get to put things in place for us to protect ourselves. And that is what a boundary is. A boundary is to protect yourself. So why is it so hard to set up a boundary? Why is that such a difficult thing to do? Boundaries are super, super scary for people who have lived for years in people pleasing. People pleasing is when we are more worried about what other people think about us than what we think about ourselves. We give other people the power to tell us whether or not we are good enough. So when we people please, we almost turn into like a chameleon. We pretend to be something else. We pretend to think or do things that maybe go against how we would genuinely or authentically show up because we want this other person to be like, oh, I really like you. And then when they tell us that they really like us or that they approve of what we're doing, then we can be like, oh, that's right. I'm awesome. That's right. I have value. So living in people pleasing is such a sad and dangerous place to be because you are giving other people the power to tell you who you are and how you should feel about yourself. And I know that this is sad and I know that this is dangerous because I have lived in people pleasing basically my entire life. My entire life, you guys. And it wasn't until I set a strong boundary and I followed through that I had an incredible breakthrough. And that is why I feel like boundaries, at least for me, it was like the hatching of myself. I broke out of this shell, this binding, this prison that I had put myself in. So for years, I had been conforming to how I was supposed to act in certain situations, typically like around the holidays. We all know that sometimes the holidays can get really difficult because you want everybody to be happy. You want everybody to have a good time. And of course, this is important. Like, of course, we need to have consideration for other people. We need to be thinking about other people. But when we put the consideration for other people above ourselves, that's where it becomes that the distortion of self, the distortion of your own value, putting value on other people. So for so long, that is what I had done. I had conformed and like put myself in a box like, oh, well, I shouldn't act this way. I shouldn't say this. I should be more bubbly. I should be more happy. Like I really wanted to try to please all the people that I was around. But you guys, like This blew my mind when I thought about it. Now looking back, I'm like, of course. But at the time, I was working so hard to make sure that I was fitting in, or that I was doing what everybody else wanted me to do so that it looked good, so that everybody else could have a good time. The crazy thing is that even when I was putting myself in a box, or especially when I was putting myself in this box of this is how you're supposed to act, I never actually made other people like me. They still were unhappy with my actions. Well, I didn't say this right, or I didn't smile at the right time, or I didn't join the conversation right, or I said this wrong. Like, there was always something that was wrong. And so when we are people pleasing, when we are in this mode, we are not pleasing ourselves. So we are unhappy with ourselves, and we're not actually pleasing these other people. They're unhappy with us. And so we're getting these feelings of discontent, these feelings of I'm not good enough from both sides. When you can pull yourself out of people pleasing and be like, nope, I'm done, then you can please yourself, you can love yourself, you can feel good about yourself, and then other people, again, we can't control other people can choose whether or not they want to like us. So we don't get to control whether or not people like us. They're going to like us or not like us no matter what we do. So it's really important that we show up for ourselves and be like, hey, I'm going to love you. And then I'm going to project myself with genuineness and with authenticity. And then other people can decide what they want. So how does this set into boundaries? Like, how does this work with boundaries? So basically it's the exact same thing. The only reason that you do not have any boundaries is because you are so worried and you're trying to people please. You're trying to make other people like you. And so you're like, oh no, that's fine. I don't have any boundaries. You can do or say whatever you want, anything to make you happy, but you're not making yourself happy. So how to set a boundary? So for me, this is what happened. I had a situation come up where we were going to have some people come and visit us, and I did not feel good about this. I was very uncomfortable with these people coming. We had been away from certain situations for almost a year, and I've been doing lots of really deep inner work, and I was feeling really good about myself, and the thought of the old baggage coming back onto me and having to force myself back into this box just made me physically sick. I was like, I cannot do this again. I cannot. My heart was pumping, my chest was really tight, my stomach was really sick, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't go back into this. I don't know what to do. And I was talking to my sister, and I was just like, help me get through this. I don't know what to do. And she told me, she said, Adele, if you could do anything, remember, you can't control other people. They're going to do what they're going to do. So take off the controlling other people. For yourself, what would you do? And when I thought about it immediately, I was like, well, I just won't be here. I wouldn't be here. I would leave. And the light bulb went off, and I was like, why couldn't I? Why couldn't I just leave? That would be totally fine. They're still welcome to come. They're still welcome to be here. The rest of my family can enjoy this visit and have a great time. I could just remove myself. And the more I thought about it, one, it was terrifying because I was like, oh my gosh, if I did that, then they would think this, or then my family would say this, and then they would act like this. And it was just really scary. I dove back into that people-pleasing tunnel, and it was suffocating. It was terrifying because I had kind of broken out of it. I'd kind of gotten out of it, and I was like, nope, I cannot go back into this. This does not feel good for me. And so before I was able to really solidify on this boundary and really stick with it and know that this is what I wanted and needed to do, I had some more inner work to do. So what I did to kind of help prepare myself, I didn't tell anybody that I was planning on not being there when they came. What I did is I started spending quality time with myself. So about a week before I shared the news, I had to get myself ready because I had been in this cycle of I say what I want, I say what I feel, and if it doesn't match what the other people around me wanted, is they would just push and be like, well, you can't do that because of this, or you shouldn't do that because it makes you look like this, or then people are going to think this. And they would push me back into this box of, oh, that's right. Like, I don't want other people to think that about me. I want everybody to like me and all that kind of stuff. It's almost like, you know how when you're in the grocery store, if you have young children with you or any kind of store, and the checkout aisle, all of the fun stuff is always right along the checkout aisle, right? So the kids are like, oh, Mom, can I have a candy bar? And if you're like, no, and they are like, oh, come on, please, 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 I'm really hungry. And you're just like, okay, fine, just put it up there. Then the next time they go to the store, they know that no doesn't actually mean no. It just means that you just have to push just a little bit harder and you get what you want. So if you continue to like fall into this trap, no doesn't mean no. It just means push harder and you get what you want. And that's kind of the trap that I had found myself in, that I could say, ooh, I really don't feel comfortable with this. I really don't want to do this. But I had basically trained the people in my family, and they had trained me back, that no doesn't mean no, or I don't want to do this doesn't mean I'm not going to do this. It just means, oh, we just have to push harder. And I knew that there was going to be big pushback on this, on me not wanting to be there, because I had never actually followed through really with any of the boundaries that I had set in the past. But this one felt so deep and strong, and I knew in my heart that I had to do this. Like, this was one of those pivotal moments. Like, it was almost like a do or die type thing. Not really, because if I hadn't stuck with this one, I would have had an opportunity to do it again. That's a really cool thing about the life that we live here, our opportunity to be here in mortality. We're always given chances to continue to grow. We may not take this one, but I promise you there's going to be another one down the road. I think that's just really cool. But this one, I was like, no, I feel like now is my time. Like, now I am strong enough. I'd been doing inner work. I'd been really working on myself. And I was like, now is the time to do this. And so I spent that quality time with myself. I started meditating. So I set my timer for about an hour every morning. I would turn everything off and I would just sit with myself. I really love the meditations. I love guided meditations, but in this case, I felt like I needed to be with the voices in my head. And so I didn't want any extra voices. So I did the Hertz, HZ or something like that. The Hertz meditation. So you can type in those letters, and then like self-love or confidence or abundance or whatever it is you want to put in. And it's really cool. So they have a ton of different, it's just music that you listen to, and it's on frequencies. Like, there's different frequencies, everything that you're listening to. Like, I did a lot of self-love, I did a lot of confidence ones, and they're different. So our body, we're always running on frequencies, right? There's always frequencies going on. And so when we are feeling confident and we feel a lot of self-love, our frequencies are really high. When we're feeling fear and we're feeling frustration or we're feeling anger, our frequencies are a lot lower. So I would listen to these music frequencies with the things that I was specifically trying to work on, and it would help raise those frequencies, those vibrations in my body. So here's what I would do when I would talk to myself. I have been gifted, I always have been, with a great imagination. I love to use my imagination. I picture things in my mind. And so when I started doing these meditations, I would envision basically two people in my brain. I had one that was like the divine mother, like a perfect version of what a mother would be like. And then the other version was like a child, like maybe kindergarten, preschool age child, just super, super young. And I would envision, say, what if this little child, like say they had gone to school, they'd gone to preschool or kindergarten, and they came home and they just said, Mom, so-and-so said that I'm ugly and that I'm stupid and that they don't want to play with me anymore. And they have tears rolling out of their big, beautiful eyes down their cute little chubby cheeks, and they are just heartbroken. What would you do? In that situation, what would you do if you saw a child like that? Of course, your instinct would be to grab that child and put them on your lap, hold them close, let their head rest on you, and you just hold them and you rock with them and you tell them, oh, sweetheart, You are so loved. You are so beautiful. You are so smart. I created you. I love you more than anything. You tell this child how desperately you love them, just like a good mother would. And so that's what I would do. In my mind, I would have my divine mother, and then I would have me as a child and just be like, oh, this is how I feel. I'm not good enough. I'm not enough. I'm struggling with this. Oh my goodness. My divine mother loved on me so hard. She would take me and she would hold me and she would say, oh, Adele, I love you so much. I created you. I have been there with you the whole time. You are so special. You are so smart. You are so much more than what other people say about you. It doesn't matter what other people say about you because I know that you're special. So after doing this for a couple of days, and by the way, those were so transformative. Like, it was so beautiful to envision myself being loved so deeply and so personally and so infinitely. Like, there was nothing that I could have done or said that she would have been like, oh yeah, that's right, I don't want to be around you. No, this divine mother, my divine mother, loved me so much. And so this was transformative. I had my journal there. After my hour, I would write things down. I would write the things that I would feel like she would say to me, and then I would write it down. Just like I would say to my child. I would just love them. I wouldn't say, suck it up, get over it. Who cares? Or even worse, well, then what can you do so that they will like you? What can you do to help them like you more? No, oh my gosh. I would be like, they're not worthy of you. Find other friends. You are so special. Do not put yourself in a place or with people who think that about you. You are so special. So of course, if I'm willing to say this to my sweet, sweet little child, then that is said to me as well. My divine mother would say the exact same thing to me. You are so special. Do not let other people tell you your worth. Do not allow that. And so that's what I was doing. I was sitting with myself. I was feeling my feelings and I would just breathe. So a lot of times my feelings, like I'll get really tight in my shoulders and my chest. And then when I relax and surrender into those feelings, they will sink down into like the pit of my belly. And I love it when they do that. I love when they sink into my belly because when I do like big, deep belly breaths, I'm able to just like breathe them out. And then they're gone. Those feelings of, oh my gosh, what if they don't approve of me? What if they say mean things to me? What if this happens? I just surrender it and I breathe it out. And then I breathe in all the love that my heavenly parents, my heavenly mother is sending to me. And it filled me up. I felt so loved and I knew that what I was doing was right. The way that you know that a boundary is right for you is that you let go of controlling the other person. If you're still trying to control the other person, like, oh, well, I'm doing this so that they will learn a lesson, that's not a good boundary. Like that's not even a boundary. You're again trying to control, because if you can control the other person to have them not do that thing, then when they don't do that thing, then you can feel good about yourself. That doesn't work. You have to feel good about yourself even if they choose to do this thing, right? That's your boundary. Like, you don't get to control how I feel about myself, and you don't get to control how I act. Like, that is your boundary. And that's how you know that you are in a good boundary, is when you're letting go of trying to control another person. You're in control of yourself. When you do this, I do this. So I worked up the nerve. Like I said, it took me about a week of doing these meditations every day. And then I worked up the nerve to go ahead and share the news that I was just not going to be there. And I didn't make it a big deal. I wasn't like, I have an announcement. It was just like, hey, when they come, that's totally fine that they come. I think you guys are going to have a great time. But I'm actually just going to go and I'm going to stay a couple days at my sister's house. That was what I had decided. My sister lived like 4 hours away from me. And so I was like, that is totally fine. It'll be great. You guys can have a good time. They're still welcome to come. I am just going to go ahead and remove myself from the situation. Let me tell you that the whole analogy of the child in the candy store is exactly what happened with me. At first, it was like, well, I don't think that's a good idea because it won't look good. I think that you should still be here. And I was like, no, I'm not going to. I'm not going to go. They're welcome to come. You're welcome to have a good time. I won't be there. And very calmly, that's pretty much exactly how I said it. Well, of course, then they wanted to push harder. No, you need to be here. Like, that's not okay that you're not here. And I was like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. This is what I feel like I need to do, and I'm just not going to be here. I'll be there. And then they tried different tactics and different ways of like they continue to push and continue to push. And my response was always, no, I don't feel like that is what I need to do. I feel like I need to go. And let me tell you this, girls, right now, when you feel like you need to do something, trust that. Our God-given, our divine-given right is to be able to have intuition. Like, we are blessed with so much intuition power, and we stamp it down. We don't listen to it because other people try to tell us, no, that's not right. No, that's not what you should do. No. If you feel like you should do something, if you have a feeling, you do it. Like, you have to do it. It is so, so important to stick with and to back yourself up. It kind of goes back with like, I had my back. I was like, no, I know that this is what I need to feel. This is what I need to do because this is what I feel like I need to do. And you don't have to explain it. You don't have to come up with any kind of research onto why it's valid. You don't have to say anything. They may want proof. Well, why? Well, that doesn't make sense. Why? You can just stay with, because that's what I feel like I need to do. That's just what I feel like I need to do. And that's what I'm going to do. You can just stick with that. You do not have to give any explanations. When I realized that, oh my gosh, that gave me so much power too, because I was always so afraid. I'm like, well, I can't explain it. I just know. And like, it just felt really weird. But when I finally was like, because that's what I said, because that's how I feel. And that's what I'm going to do. And it was never to control another person. It was never out of hate or anger. It was genuine, authentic love for myself on how I wanted to show up for myself, what I needed to do for myself. So I remember the last and the most, the hardest push that this family member gave to me. I was sitting on the couch and they were pacing in front of me and just so angry. And they were saying some of the things that would have crushed me just like 4 or 5 days ago, completely crushed me. They were saying some really, really vile things to me and calling me certain things. And it was just really, really, it could have been a really nasty situation. But you guys, the coolest thing is I was sitting on the couch and I literally felt like there was this golden bubble around me, this shield of power around me, and everything that they were throwing at me, all of these accusations, how they saw me, what they thought of me, what other people thought of me. They always knew that I was like this, and all of these different things that they were throwing at me. I just sat there in absolute knowledge that what they were saying was false, completely false. I knew that I was not what they were saying that I was. I knew that what I was doing was right, and I felt so much love. And the crazy thing is I even felt love for them. Like, in that time, instead of me getting defensive and like, oh, what, but, like, instead of doing that towards them, I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, I could see how scared they were with me putting up this boundary. Like, that was scary for them, that they no longer have that control over me. And I could have empathy and be like, oh my goodness, like, how scary that must be for them. That's okay. They can be scared. Like, that's what they need to do right now. And I sat in my power. I never, ever argued back. Never argued. I would say things like, I'm sorry that you feel that way. That's not fact. That's just how you feel. That's not true. Or actually, I don't even think I would say things like that's not true. I would say more just like, I'm really sorry that you feel that way. I know that this is what I need to do. I'm sorry that you feel that way. And they tried and they tried and they tried and they just paced up and down and they were so angry. And I remember thinking too, as I was watching them, I was just like, this is the person that I have been so afraid of for so long. Like, I have given so much power to this person because I was so afraid of this exact thing. And I sat there in absolute love for myself. And it wasn't even scary. It was so, the only thing, have you guys ever watched Wonder Woman? Oh my gosh. So I love Wonder Woman. I think it is so beautiful. But you know that scene where she gets out of the bunker and she's like, no, this stops now. Like, I am here to stop this. So she gets out of not the bunker, but the ditches that they dig, whatever they're called. Anyway, so she gets out of that and she just like goes for it. And she has this incredible shield of power. The enemy is shooting everything that they can at her, and she is blocking everything. And she stands in so much power. And that was me. I saw myself as that. Like, I saw myself as being like, no, this is what I am going to do. I am breaking the chains of conforming to what other people think that I should do. I am setting this boundary, and I knew that I was safe. I knew that nothing that they could throw at me would hurt me, would damage me, because I had my divine parents behind me telling me that they loved me. I had myself telling me that I loved me and that I was worthy of this. And so I met those things head on, and they just bounced right off my shield and they never stuck. So that was like the culminating, that was like the apex of the trying to get me to conform. And when that didn't work, it was almost like, oh, okay, I guess you're just not going to be here. I guess that'll be okay. It was amazing, you guys. Like, there was a switch where it was just like, oh, well, I guess no means no. And I guess that she's not going to be here, and it's going to be okay. So that is how you stick with that boundary that you have set. You have to get absolute in yourself, especially if it's something big and scary and something that you have never done before. Get solid with yourself. Love yourself. Find your power, and then you stand in it. And you do not let anything come at you. And you do not accept anything. I'm sorry that you feel that way. This is something that I have to do. Do not argue back. Do not try to convince them that what you're doing is right. Because in their mind, it is completely wrong. And who's to say that they're wrong? Like, in their perception, in their reality, you are 100% wrong. And that is 100% okay. In your reality, in your world, for your life, you are 100% right. And you are 100% validated. And that is okay. Like, I cannot live my life for someone else. And they cannot live their life for me. So we all have to experience our own things, and then we have to stick up for ourselves, myself. I have to have her back. I have to love her to the point that other people cannot love me, and that is okay because I love me. And the people that genuinely love me are going to show up. But if I am constantly pretending to be somebody else so that these people in my life will love me, guess what? I will never love me. Because I am so worried about not being me for them that I can't be me. You can't love somebody that you're not, or that you don't even know. So really get close, get clear with who you are, and that you are of so much value, and that you are loved, and that you are special, and that when you have a feeling that you should do something, that you need to stick with it. When you set these boundaries, especially if you haven't before, that first boundary is going to feel like a freaking mountain. You guys, it's going to be so scary. But it was only scary until I started doing the inner work, until I started connecting with myself and with my divine mother. It wasn't scary after that. After that, it was exciting. It was exhilarating. It was like the sky's the limit. I can do this. I am so powerful, and not in a control other people powerful, but just like in myself. I loved myself so much, and I was like, you are allowed to do this, Adele. You are allowed to choose this for yourself, and it is safe. Your family is safe. So long story short, the day came for me to leave, and it was so peaceful, and I felt so much love. I even felt so much love for those family members that were coming that I didn't want to be around. Like, I felt so much love for them because it wasn't about them. It was about taking this time for myself and showing up for myself and loving myself. When I did that, I was able to spread that love around. So I left. I had a fantastic time with my sister. It was so special. We got to stay up and we left, and she cooked me amazing food, and I got to go to my niece's softball game and just spend the entire, I think I had 2 days with them or something like that. And it was beautiful. It was so fun to spend that time with my family. And also I knew that my family here was having so much fun, and I was so happy for them. In the past, I would have been like trying to control that, like, oh, I'm not there, and they shouldn't have fun without me, and like so worried about it. Let go of that control, you guys. Let it go. It is okay. Love yourself. Be there for yourself. Everything else is going to be 100% okay. So they had a great time here. I had a great time there. I came back, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful reunion. I was very happy to see my family again. They were happy to see me. And I was so proud of myself. I was proud of myself for so many reasons. One, I showed myself that I could stand up for myself and I could say no when I needed to say no. And then it was 100% okay. It didn't ruin anybody's life. It didn't mess anything up. It was beautifully perfect the way it was supposed to be. I also showed my children that it's okay to say no. It's okay to put up those boundaries and be like, this doesn't feel right for me, and to trust it and to be there for yourself. It's beautiful. I love it. It was amazing. So that is my story of how to set a boundary, why boundaries are important, how to know if the boundary that you're setting is a good boundary, like if it's really a boundary or if it's just about controlling other people. So again, a boundary is not to control other people, it's to protect yourself. How do you know if it's right? When you let go of control and you just love yourself and you don't worry about what the other people are doing. They're totally allowed to do whatever they're going to do. Of course, if there's any type of physical mistreatment, that is not what I'm talking about. This is more of that emotional thing. Let them do what they're going to do, and then you stick with your boundary. That's super, super important. You show yourself that you have the power. The next one was how to have the power and the ability to carry through, because that's a scary thing. Like in your mind, you're like, oh, I'm going to do this. But when it comes down to it, the follow through is really scary. So the how to be able to do that is really getting deep with your self-love. Love yourself. Heal yourself. It's totally okay for you to make choices for yourself and to follow your intuition, to follow what you feel is right. I hope that this video was beneficial. I hope that you learned something. This was transformative for me, you guys. Like, this was a couple of months ago. I want to say probably like 5 or 6 months ago now. And my life has changed, like, completely. I mean, I couldn't see it in the moments, but looking back on the different things that have happened and my inner growth and my confidence, it is incredible. It's powerful. Set those boundaries. Love yourself. If I could leave you with nothing else, it's this. You are so divinely loved. You are so divinely loved, and you are so powerful. You have been sent here to earth with all of the powers and all of the blessings and all of the abilities that you need to live your life. You have all of them already inside of you. You just have to unlock it. You just have to find it. You just have to see it. And that, once you do, the sky is the limit. Like, literally, you have so much confidence and you have so much love, and you show up with so much authenticity, with so much love for other people. It's incredible. It's a beautiful, beautiful transformation. So if this video has been helpful, if you have learned something, please hit like and subscribe. I have a couple other thoughts that I'm wanting to make some videos on. I have learned so much in my personal development journey, and I want to share this because they were videos like this, or they were people that were also going through this, that helped me with my breakthrough, that helped me learn and helped me break out of this personal prison that I had put myself in. Because that's what it is. Nobody can control you. Your control is all up here. So let go of that control. Let go and stop putting yourself in a box. You are divine. You are loved. I can't wait to see you guys next. I will read the comments if there's anybody that has anything that they want me to cover or anything that they want me to talk about. Let me know, and I will see if I can make a video and kind of teach about that. So until next time, we'll talk to you later. Bye.